Hi everyone and welcome to Emborg Home Baking. I'm Jessica Ting from Miss Shortcakes and today's recipe is going to be all about banana cake. So let's begin. First of all, we need to prepare our cake tin. And I've got some soft butter here and also just a little bit of plain flour, maybe a tablespoon or two. And with my brush, I'm going to grease all over the tin. The next step is to also have a second layer of protection, which is a little bit of dusting of plain flour, okay? So I'm just going to drop maybe a tablespoon of this into the pan. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap it to coat the entire cake tin with a thin coat of plain flour. And done. Cake tin is now ready, so I'll put that aside. And let's talk about the ingredients that we need. So I've got my butter, yogurt, and I've got eggs. And then I've got dry ingredients as well. I'm going to sift all the dry ingredients together first so that it's faster. So I'm going to tip in my baking powder. That can all go in. It's very important to sift your flour to get rid of any excess lumps. You don't want a lumpy cake batter. Now everything is ready. I'm going to start to cream the butter. So I'm using Emborg unsalted butter today. It has a really buttery flavor and it also gives the cake a really nice texture as well. So with a paddle attachment, I'm going to pop the butter in as well as my sugar. At this point, you can also add your vanilla. And for extra flavor, a good pinch of salt. So let's start creaming. Meanwhile, I'll prepare my eggs. We'll do one at a time. I think it still needs a few more minutes for it to really turn creamy and white and light. Now I can add in my egg one at a time. And I'll drop in my last egg. So once that has completely come together, now we're going to add in our yogurt. I'm using Emborg yogurt today. It's got a very thick and very smooth, creamy texture. And it's also going to give you a nice tang to your cake. Turn down the speed, and that can all go in. Give it a good mix. Okay, so now we're going to introduce the dry ingredients. So everything goes in. As you can see, so far, very easy. And that's it. It's now still very creamy and still very light and fluffy, and that's what we want. Now, on to the bananas. We need 200 grams, so I will weigh this. It's also very important to not put too much bananas into your cake. Okay, so I'll only mash my bananas now because I'm ready to fold that into my cake. Just gently press down. It doesn't have to be smooth. You want quite a coarse mashed banana. Okay, I'm ready to fold into the cake batter now. And we're going to do a folding action, scraping every single last bit around the bowl, folding through the center and up again. And that's it. So straight into our cake tin. Okay, into the oven. I've preheated my oven as always, 175 degrees C and approximately 45 minutes to 50 minutes. And we're gonna bake it until it's golden brown and fully cooked through. Okay, now my banana cake has cooled down slightly. I can lift up the tin and then we're just gonna flip it over upside down. Okay, very easy. So now we're just gonna set this aside, let it cool down completely before we can do the frosting. Okay, now my banana cake has completely cooled. It's time to make the frosting. Today I'm using Emborg American style cream cheese as opposed to the classic European cream cheese. I also have soft butter. So we're gonna start by creaming the cream cheese. So while that's creaming, I will start sifting my icing sugar. And we can just proceed to add all of the icing sugar in one hit. Okay, so while that's creaming, I'm going to prepare some walnuts to give it a little bit of extra texture. Okay, and that's it. We'll just set that aside for later. Okay, so now let's get our cake ready for the frosting. So we're going to finally add in the butter. It's soft butter, don't forget that, room temperature. So we'll add it in about a tablespoon at a time. Okay, perfect. It's done. Okay, as you can see, the icing is beautiful and creamy and light and fluffy. So I'm just going to dollop a generous amount of this frosting. Okay, and using a spatula, I'm going to proceed to spread it all over the top of the cake. Then with my chopped nuts, just toss them lightly on top. And ta-da! Here's my take on banana cake. It's sweet, it's crunchy, and it's also super easy to make. Find this full recipe online, and happy baking, guys!